Hi, Paranormal
Hello.
Pixies. I'm Blade.
I'm Rhonda.
Bone Daddy back there, and of course the ever-loving
Monkey.
monkey Coco. Coco Monkey.
Oh,
Muffin. He's got many nicknames.
yeah.
Love Muffin.
Licky. Licky, licky.
So we decided we're going to do vampires, zombies this week.
Yep.
And we were just talking about vampires.
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah, we're talking about the strain.
Yes.
And how we keep waiting for it to get better and...
Yeah. I gave up waiting.
Yeah, I did too.
Anyway.
It had a good premise. It had,
potential.
It had potential, but it just...
I mean, there's even some big names in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But... Yeah, exactly. So, you said you know about the history of...
Well, I know...
Of zombies.
I know quite a bit about zombies, but it's funny because you brought this book out, The Serpent and the Rainbow. Because I know a lot about the Haitian zombies.
Okay.
And the powder that they use from the blowfish. And yeah.
So?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else mixed in with it. The blowfish powder, the puffer fish.
They also use the toxin powders from the bufo frogs.
Okay.
So, yes.
Yeah, now that I didn't know. I knew about the blowfish.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever see those cute little blowfish that blow up.
Fugu.
Yes.
The stuff that
don't
Asian people eat because it has to be cut a very specific way.
Yeah, they have to be
trained to cut this piece of meat out of a blowfish. Otherwise, it's poisonous.
Yeah.
And people have died from it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like a neurotoxin. It is. Basically just paralyzes everything. And
right.
You just lay there, but you're aware of what's going on. That's the really messed up part of that one.
So, you said you know about the Haitians. So,
yeah.
Please, I'm giving you a chance to elaborate.
Well, what was the one guy's name? Clavius?
Clairvay Narcisse.
Narcisse, yeah.
Yes.
He was actually a documented zombie.
Right.
In Haiti. Mm-hmm. Because somebody blew the powder in his face, or they rub it on an open wound or whatever, and it mimics death. Mm-hmm. And he was actually buried, and he showed up 15 years later.
15 to 18 years. Yeah, it was somewhere like 15 or 18 years later.
Came back into his village, and his sister recognized him. Yep. And he described how he remembered being buried because he was watching it. Because again, you're aware of everything, but you can do nothing.
Right.
And people think that you're dead. And he was, basically held in slavery by this guy to work on, his farm or in the fields or something.
Right.
And I forget how he said he got away, but yeah.
I think he was just done.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't exactly a spring chicken when he was...
True.
When it happened, so he...
Is that rain?
Yes.
Oh.
We're trying.
I was hoping to get back before the storms got here.
Yeah,
but...
unfortunately, they arrived before you did.
It was sunny when I came in.
It doesn't mean anything. We were out Saturday at the ceramic place, and it's a blue sky, little fluffy clouds, and all of a sudden a downpour.
Yeah,
And we're looking at it, and nothing had changed in the sky. It was still blue.
Gotta love that.
We're okay.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So going on to Mr. Narcisse. Essentially, if you look at what the book she was referring to is Wade Davies' Serpent and the Rainbow, which is he was an ethnobotanist. An ethnobotanist, they kind of go around the world to these tribal areas.
Yeah.
And they look at these tribes and the herbs that they use, the plants, even some of the animals. Okay?
Yeah.
Even though it says botany on it, what they're looking for is native remedies and medicines and things that they utilize in the healing process.
Yeah.
And seeing how we in the West can utilize those same ingredients.
Yeah.
And what brought him to, because most of his work was done in South America.
Right.
What brought him to the Haitian area was these reports of zombies.
Right.
And it's let me get this. I'll give you the exact definition of the word zombie.
And if they made a movie out of this,
which is horrible. Don't watch the movie.
Well, no, the movie
It was,
there was one part that just freaked me out because
okay, but it had nothing to do with this book.
No.
This book and that movie are two different
things.
entities.
But
it was
there
horrifying.
was a part in the movie when they like buried the guy alive, and the theater was completely black, and you could just hear him. Oh
right.
Man, I was like.
Okay, so it doesn't exactly say what the definition of what the word zombie means literally, but there are different types of zombies.
Yeah.
There's a astral zombie, which is an aspect of the soul that may be transmuted at the will of the one who possesses it.
Yeah.
And what they usually do is they usually keep them in sort of like a totem.
Yeah, like a jar.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Zombie of the flesh, which is the zombie cadaver, which makes sense.
Yeah.
That can be made to work, which is what Mr. Narcisse was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then a zombie savant, which is an ex-zombie, again, Mr. Narcisse, who has been through the earth, become a zombie, and then return to the state of the living.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this gentleman was.
Yeah.
And in the book, what they talk about, it isn't necessarily that they blow a powder in their face or something. It is usually put on the ground in a VV. Do you know what a VV is?
Mm-hmm.
It's the symbolisms, the lovely. If you've ever watched any New Orleans movies, you always see these intricate designs that the voodoo priest will make. That's a VV. So a lot of times there will be a VV, because what they want to do is they don't want to get caught being the person, like, oh, hey, look, and then like 20 people saw you do it.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, there he is. And this is what they call people who use that. They call them bokurs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which are sorcerers. I think we should state a little bit ahead of time. There are two things. There's voodoo, which is a religion.
Right.
And then there's hoodoo, which is the practice of magic. And you can have good and you can have bad.
Yeah.
Usually the evil sorcerer is the bokur.
Right.
So that's what you have. But essentially, yeah, Mr. Narcisse was put in this state, and what it is this powder, this substance lowers the respiratory system and the heart rate so low
that it's not detectable.
You can't even notice. You think they're dead.
Yeah, it mimics death.
And so they wind up getting buried. Now, what they have said, there's a bunch of theories as to what happens after this occurs. Because pretty much once you're buried, you're pretty much in an airtight container because you have ground on top of you. Mm-hmm. And so what they're thinking happens is that you suffer from a form of apoplexy, which is you're not getting enough oxygen to your brain. Mm-hmm. So they essentially believe that that's what causes the zombie state is this lack of oxygen to the brain.
That makes sense.
So, and then as you go along in life, your brain cells don't heal themselves.
Right.
What they do is they die off. Mm-hmm. And as you use your brain actually creates more cells. Mm-hmm. So, he probably, through his activities and stuff, his brain started kind of healing itself.
Yeah.
By gaining new cells.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that was. But yeah, I watched the movie, and I had read the book before I watched the movie.
Oh, see, I hadn't. So.
And because it was part of our medical anthropology class.
Okay.
For us to read about this. By the way, the nurses in that class, because the nurses had to take it too. There were like 5 anthropology students and 75 nurses.
Okay.
In this classroom. And it was in a classroom. Mm-hmm. Wasn't in an auditorium.
Oh, God.
I feared for my life. I never ever wanted to get sick after witnessing these 75 nurses who just, I don't know why they were there. My only hope is that somehow their brain cells got better. Because I vowed never to get sick again after listening to those girls.
Okay.
Yeah, it was scary. Okay, so example. and actually, based on some of the stuff we'll talk about, it is referenced in here.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kuru.
Yeah.
I fell asleep during that lecture.
Oh, God.
Okay? But I was awake long enough. I felt like I had done a time slip.
Yeah.
I was awake long enough when she was an instructor. She was an adjunct. She brought up Kuru, and she talked about it being similar to a disease that affects minks. And one of the nursing students asked, "What's a mink?"
Oh, God.
And to which my response was, "What do you mean, what's a mink? You're a girl. You should know diamond, mink, Lamborghini."
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
how can you not know what a mink is,
Right?
you know? And that was my most active part of that whole lecture. Because I fell asleep only to wake up because the lecture started with Kuru, a disease that affects the brain.
Yeah.
To being woken up at the end of the class to Kuru, a disease that affects the brain. And I'm like, a whole hour and a half just went by. Did I do a time loop? What? You know? But luckily class was over.
Yeah. Kuru is messed up.
Well,
man.
and there are theories in this new version of zombieism. Have you heard that it's similar to that mad cow disease?
No.
Okay. I've watched things
Well,
where...
no, yeah, I did, because the one guy that ate the one guy's face off down in Florida, and he thought he was high on bath salts, but he didn't have anything in his system. Right.
But I've watched documentaries, and I will be honest, I don't watch The Walking Dead.
I do.
I like a villain.
Yeah, but The Walking Dead
is antagonist.
The Walking Dead is more about how it affects the people that are left rather than just the whole zombie thing.
I like a villain that has a brain.
There's a villain in there.
Okay. I mean, I really, truly like somebody who has... And if it's a political thing, I hate that kind of stuff.
You would like Negan. I'm telling you, man.
But...
He was wearing a bat with barbed wire on it.
Okay, yay.
But yeah, like I said,
I'm just not
more...
into zombies because I mean I'll watch the Resident Evil because that's again grab a bucket of popcorn, you know, some crackers and cheese whiz because you're gonna need it, you know. They can't be taken seriously. No. I mean they really can't, you know, Umbrella Corp and all the other things.
Yeah.
I'm not a big zombie fan. Overall.
Yeah, well, I'm not either, but like I said, The Walking Dead is more about... Well, see, the zombies in The Walking Dead don't talk. No.
Well, that's been a progression.
Yeah.
Because the zombies that are in the media, that are in the movies, are based off of George R. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, 1968.
Mm-hmm. Really good movie.
And a few of the preceding ones. But that was the original brainless... lumbering being,
right?
Okay, and to me that kind of a being falls more under the early vampire, the Revenant, which is a dead being that just kind of lumbers around and wants to eat your blood, or your car or whatever, you know, your essence, you know. So it just the brainless lumbering Hulk just doesn't. I mean, I've watched some. Oh my God, there have been some bad ones.
Oh, have there ever?
Yes,
there have.
Now, I did like Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead was great.
Shaun of the Dead is a classically awesome one. There was another one, and I was trying to remember.
I loved it when he woke up after the apocalypse happened. He's going to work, and all the zombies around him. He's just like looking around, like, what's going on? Oh, it's such a good movie. If you haven't seen Shaun of the Dead,
it is a must see. Yeah,
it's really funny.
It is. It is a really funny movie. And there was another one that was similar that was like either a New Zealand or an Australian one. The only thing I can remember is that there's like a vicious monkey in the poster. like the cover of the movie. There's like a dead, cadaverous monkey going.
Okay.
And it's based off, what it was based off of is that these people were at the zoo and this monkey had been infected. It's kind of like Outbreak.
Okay.
Oh, only it's more comedic.
Okay.
And they become zombies.
Nice.
Okay, so this monkey at the zoo bites one of their friends or something, and it starts this zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
So again, it's kind of like it's humorous.
Yeah.
It's a spoof.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But going back to Kuru.
Yes, going back to Kuru.
Yeah, the first. I think they first documented that in the tribes that were
Papua
cannibals.
New Guinea.
Yeah, they were cannibals.
Papua New Guinea, the 4 or the 4A tribe.
Yeah.
And that was way back in the 50s when they first discovered it.
Yeah.
And the
I
term.
remember seeing videos of these people.
The term Kuru actually is from their language, and it means trembling.
Yeah, I thought it meant like the laughing disease or something. Didn't
It's
it?
trembling.
Because I know they'll once they get to like the ending stages of it, they'll laugh uncontrollably.
Well,
and shake
what it is, and this is the thing that they discovered.
It eats holes in your brain.
Well, it essentially what was going on is they had started a new custom. This was not an old custom. This wasn't traditional. But for this particular tribe, they had started a new custom around the turn of the century where they started eating the dead.
Yeah.
And what was happening is the women and children would prepare the deceased's body for feast. And they were nibbling on the brain and stuff like that while they were doing this.
Gross.
And it was more prolific within the female and the adolescents of this tribe that they would contract Kuru. It wasn't so much the men. And it wasn't an instantaneous thing.
Oh no, it took a while.
It took like years before it would take effect.
Yep.
And so...
Because it's like caused by prions that eat your brain.
And what that is that is a protein without a nucleic acid. It doesn't contain that. So they started looking at, what was going on. Why are these people the only ones affected? And pretty much they shut it down.
Yeah.
And now it no longer exists in that tribe because they no longer are eating the dead.
They figured out what was causing it.
Right.
Quit doing it.
Well, and there is cannibalism in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the few documented areas of cannibalism. There's only one other place that they have ever, and even that, it's not really
prevalent.
Well, no. It's questionable as to whether or not cannibalism.
Look at this face I'm getting.
I know. Actually, he's like, you're not petting me. You must pet me. I am love. So, but in the Southwest, there, because of the way burials were, and this goes to this, customs of burial, that because there was not a lot of wood, because there was a lot of stone, it was hard to bury people. So what would happen is if they did want to do a cremation, depending on where they were located, they would either scrape the meat off the bones and expose it so that the bones would dry out and then do the cremation was one theory, because they were noticing on the bones these scrape marks, these tool marks from what they could find that was left. It was easier to bury, but what are they going to do with this pound of flesh?
Right.
So, you either throw it outside of your area and let,
the
animals eat it, or if they're going through great distress for food.
Yeah.
It's a readyable commodity.
Yeah.
Because it's protein.
Yeah.
And our bodies need protein to function.
Watch the movie Alive.
Yes. But but again, they're basing it off of Toolmark.
Right.
Was there actually cannibalism going on? Nobody really knows, because this is ancient history. This is before cowboys and Indians. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Before the West was settled.
Yeah. So there could have been.
There could have been.
They don't know.
Most of the time, what they do is they do what they do in. I feel like I was doing a song there. That they do in the Buddhist areas, and what they do is exposure and allow the vultures and stuff to clean the bones off, get rid of the soft tissue, flesh, and then they cremate. So
they talked about that in an episode of Bones.
Yep. But yeah, so that's essentially what you have. But Kuru, okay. So here's the progression that I researched. So there was this sheep's disorder. I think it's the shudders.
I think so.
And what it is it's caused by these prions. Okay. They're really not sure where the source came from, though.
Right.
So you have that. And then people started noticing, well, hey, this tribe, the Four tribe, have a very similar kind of symptoms.
Yeah.
And people who suffer from the Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease also have this.
Yeah.
And so what they thought for the longest time, it was a virus.
That would be terrifying.
It was a low incubating. In other words, it took a long time for it to take effect.
Yeah.
Which with the Kuru, like years.
Yeah.
Years upon years before anybody would show any effect of it. And then when we had the mad cow disease, that's when they really started looking at it and discovered the prions.
Yep.
And that this is what it is.
Yeah.
And what it does is it does affect the brain. It does cause holes in it.
It's like,
it sponges it.
Yeah,
it makes it sponge.
It's bovine spongiform encephalitis.
Right. Well, because
something
right.
like
No,
that.
that's yeah.
Is that it?
And it does. It causes the brain to become spongy.
Yeah. That when I heard that, I was just like, that's just creepy as hell.
Right. Well, they've taken care of it because
Yeah.
they found a way to stop it, because that. What was happening is they were, for protein's sake, mixing up bovine offal into the feed.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what offal is, that's shit. They were taking manure and were grinding it up into the cow feed to give them protein. Well, apparently some of the cows that they got this from had this.
Yeah.
And so that in turn affected these cows and caused mad cow disease.
Yeah.
But what it does is, and people, it's just like mad cow disease, zombieism would take that form.
No, not really.
The body starts to tremble, and you lose balance. You have a hard time balancing, and you just start to wither away, essentially. And they do have that where, because of the imbalance physically, you're also getting a mental imbalance, which causes the, uncontrollable laughter, the uncontrollable crying, the chattering. But it is not lumbering around like a zombie.
No.
It isn't.
No.
Because essentially you just stop eating.
Yeah.
You just have no.
You basically just
wither away.
You lose the ability to
function
swallow and
right.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
It's
so
scary.
It is.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like rabies.
Yeah. In a way. Yeah. But rabies is a virus.
Yeah, but people with rabies, they have that where they I forget what they call it. It's like aquaphobia.
Hydrophobia.
Hydrophobia, that was it.
Hydrophobia.
But where they are thirsty, but
they
can't drink anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the first signs with animals. If they can't go near water if they don't want to drink. They'll be looking into that, and again, it affects the brain.
Yeah, that is messed up.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
And there's only been that one girl that actually survived it. Yeah. So if you ever get bitten by a wild animal, go immediately to
Yeah,
the hospital.
it doesn't matter.
and
Get the 20 shots in your stomach. It does, yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
Sorry, right. You know, go
Because
through the
once
pain.
once you start showing symptoms,
You're done.
Yeah, they can't
You're
do
done.
anything.
Right, you're done.
Isn't that right?
Yep. But it was interesting that you talk about the guy. There was 2 cases.
Mm-hmm.
There was the one guy in 2012 who
I must not have heard about that one.
he something happened and he got into an argument with his family about something, and he literally went out and found a family and broke into their house, killed them, and started eating them.
Ugh. Was this in the States? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And then, of course, the one in Florida.
Yeah.
With the guy.
Yeah. Now, that was just weird because...
Running around naked, eating
yeah,
people's
he got up in the morning and his wife was like, he was just acting kind of off a little, and then he left, and then he went nuts, apparently.
Right.
Attacked
and
that
old
guy. And,
homeless guy, yeah, and started eating his face.
Tried to eat his face off. Didn't he kill the guy?
Yeah.
I thought he did, yeah. But there were like 2 or 3 different episodes of that happening with different people, and they thought it was like bath salts or some other
right,
drug,
right. That wasn't
none
it.
of them had anything in their system, and that's kind of scary.
Yeah. So I mean, there is that, but yeah, the I love you dearly. So, but yeah, well, like when I see these zombie movies and knowing about the cultural history, the cultural one,
right?
Like the one that Mr. Davies, Professor Davies, researched, and he did a good job on this. If you ever get a chance, I mean, it's a technical book. He is a good writer, though. He does make it interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're ever interested in knowing about not only, he goes into the religion too. Of voodoo. So, okay.
Go on. We've got like 3 minutes.
Okay, go. It is an interesting book to read. It's The Serpent and the Rainbow by Wade Davies. And it is a good book if you want to learn more about what zombieism is, what the Loa are. I mean, he really goes into it in a very thorough but interesting way. Yeah. So, don't base anything off the movie. At all.
I saw the movie and hadn't read the book. So,
yeah. I was like, my whole face was like, how is this related to the book? What is this? It just, to me, it was just another example of taking something and just, I don't know, Wile E. Coyote bombing it into something else.
Okay.
Which the media tends to do.
Yeah.
They will sensationalize everything and anything to the point where it baffles me. I mean, have you ever seen that movie Doom with The Rock? It's based off a video game.
No, I try to avoid those.
So I saw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if it was The Rock, who is dead sexy, I just video games.
Well, they fought against these creatures.
Okay.
That had superhuman abilities. And it turns out that they were genetically manipulated creatures that we created and had 3 extra chromosomes in their DNA than we do. Swear to God, I had a 6th grader look at me and go, is that why football players play football so good? Wow. Is that why athletes are better at that than anything? Because they have those extra, whatever, the DNA.
Right, we are like out of time.
So.
Yeah. You want to continue this next week?
No. We can go on to a different subject.
Okay.
We will look at our list and pick something then. Let's
do voodoo next week.
We can do
Since
that.
We brought that up.
Yeah, we can do that.
We are running out of time.
Okay, we got seconds, mere seconds.
Yep.
So have a good one.
Yep.
We will see you later.
Because this one is finished.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.